So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, this is our ninth lecture in connection with chapter PHARMACY Act 1967. So, we have done in our previous lectures section 1, short title about the Pharmacy Act. We have done section 2 about definitions. We have done section 3, establishment of pharmacy councils and provinces. We have done section 4, composition of central councils. Then we have done section 5, composition of the provincial councils. Section 6, we have done disqualification for membership. Section 7, I think I remind you about publication of names in an official gazette of respective government. Section 8 deals the terms of office. Section 9, filling of casual vacancies, since sometime members can leave or some problem has been seen, the member cannot work more. So how to fill that vacancy? Section 10 is vacancy not to invalidate the proceeding of a council. Section 11 is election of vice president. Then we have done section 12, committees of a council. So we have done section 13, meetings of councils. Then section 14, annual report. Just to remind more than section 15, appointment of secretary officers and staff of a council, provincial or Pakistan Pharmacy Council may be. Section 16 states about related to the finances. Section 17, functions of the central council. Then section 18, approval of examination by the provincial pharmacy councils. Then section 19, approval of courses of study. Then section 20, furnishing of informations. Section 21, about related with inspectors. Section 22, withdrawal of approval by council. Section 23, just to remind functions of a provincial council. Then section 24, preparations and maintenance of registers as respective provincial pharmacy councils. Then section 25, qualification for registration as a pharmacist or the apprentice in pharmacy. Then section 26, procedure for registration of pharmacist or pharmacy technician or apprentice in pharmacy. Section 27, then issuance of registration of certificates. Then section 28, revocation of certificates. So we all have done in these previous lectures about up to section 28. Now continuation to with this. Now we go for section 29. It's related with the examination for registration as a pharmacist by the councils, Pakistan Pharmacy Council or Provincial Pharmacy Council. So if you read that section 29(1), so first we read that for the purpose of registration as a pharmacist, the provincial council shall, after giving notice in this behalf, hold examination twice in every year. So it was previously written in that act that the provincial pharmacy councils will hold an examination for the registration, but the ground reality is that they do not have conduct any examination for registration of pharmacists, because when, as you know that when a pharmacist qualifies his B Pharm or Pharm D degree, he is eligible for registration as a pharmacist in Register A by respective pharmacy council. That can be Sindh Pharmacy Council, that can be Punjab Pharmacy Council, that can be Balochistan Pharmacy Council, that can be Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Pharmacy Council as prescribed in this act. So I don't, this may have been changed later on over this. So then section 2 says, at present only the provincial pharmacy councils are holding the examination for pharmacy technician. They do not hold any examination for registration of the pharmacist. They just to have maintained registers, they have to, whenever someone has to apply for registration in register A as per previous procedure laid down in previous sections. Then we go for section 29B2. Further, an examination under subsection 1 shall be held at such place in the province as the provincial council may decide. So whenever they have to hold an examination of pharmacy technician by pharmacy council, so they have to uh, declare a place where they are going to hold that respective that particular examination. Then is section 29, notice of an examination shall be published. So whatever it must be circulated, it must be published in, in national newspapers. So as per section 29 says, a notice of an examination shall be published for a continuous period of not less than 1 week in at least one newspaper in English and one newspaper in the local language, each having wide circulation in their province. So they have they have it within 1 week of period. They have to publish that examination notices in English language as well as local language in that province. Then section 29(4) says, "Now every application for admission to an examination shall be made in such manner and in such forms as may be specified by the provincial council and shall be accompanied." Now what it contains? The prescribed fee as per the fixed by as by fixed in under bylaws. So A says such fees as may be prescribed by the bylaws. B, a certificate of good moral character from a respectful person may that application form must be accompanied with that certificate from a respectful person, may be government officer or any some member of that area of, so that can have a good moral character certificate. So such other papers or particulars as may be required by the province. So they can have under the bylaws of the provincial council, they may ask for the other some other papers requirement for that examinations, for the registration of the examination. Then 30 says section the qualification for admission to an examination. Mostly, as you know, that I have told you in my in that section 29, these examinations are basically done by that one pharmacy technician. Because if we go through that further subsections, you can see the qualification. There's no, they have not asked for the qualification as a Farm D or B Farm over there. So 30, qualification for admission to an examination. An applicant for admission to an examination under section 29A says shall not be below 17 years of age on the date fixed by the examination. So the minimum age to to be a candidate for such examination is minimum must be not less than 17 years age. B says it must have passed the matriculation examination or an equivalent higher secondary or senior Cambridge examination with general science as one of the subjects. So you can further confirm that the basic qualification for the registration for the certification is matriculation or that one senior Cambridge or whatever. They must have they must have passed general science in these subjects. Further, we can say that 30C says they must have been registered as an apprentice in pharmacy for a period of not less than 2 years before the date fixed for an exam. So they have gone through, have an apprentice in pharmacy and they have covered that period of 2 years. Means they must have gone through that one before going to for a station as a pharmacy register B. They must have attended 2 years of classes as a apprentice in pharmacy or whatever uh, is prescribed in the bylaws of that provincial pharmacy council. Further said that provided that class C shall not apply during any period during which the station of apprentice in pharmacy remains discontinued under the proviso to subsection 1 of section 24 and the period of 2 years thereafter. So he has to complete the full classes during that period of 2 years. If sometime the classes are discontinued, So that period cannot be included in that term in that period for the registration. Further say that provided further that notwithstanding anything contained in this act, it shall not be necessary for any apprentice in pharmacy to attend any regular classes or to complete any number of days or lecture at any institution for the purpose of being qualified to be admitted to an examination under section 20. So it means before going for the session as a, for examination by pharmacy council, they must go for 2 years as apprentice. Apprentice in pharmacy means they have to attend the classes for 2 years. Then they are qualified for that one, for the appearance in the examination by a pharmacy council. After passing out that examination, they are eligible for that one of registration as a pharmacy technician in their respective pharmacy council and register B only. Then 31 says provision of practice without registration. So who can practice without registration under that act? So 31 1 says, subject the provision of subsection 4, no person shall, after the expiry of 5 years from the commencement of this act or such later date, as the central government may by notification the official gazette specify in this behalf practice as a pharmacist unless he is registered pharmacist and display his certificate of registration in a conspicuous place within the premises in which he so practiced. So means after the promulgation of this act, so after 5 years, during that period, after 5 years, no one can practice as pharmacist without the registration in their respective pharmacy council. Now 31.2 says, whoever employs and pharmacist, any pharmacist for the purpose of any business in pharmacy shall cause the certificate of registration of the pharmacist so employed to be displayed in a conspicuous place within the premises in which such business is carried out. Means the pharmacist will register his registration certificate or may be displayed as a permanent place that in such business places. Means for retail pharmacy or wherever they employ any these pharmacy technicians. Basically, these are pharmacy technicians that if they are employed in such cases, they have to place their certificate, display their certificates on a proper place. Further, it says 31.3, whoever contravenes the provision of subsection 1 or subsection 2 shall be punishable with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 6 months or with fine which may extend to 1,000 rupees or with both. So violation of these sections, there can be penalty of 6 months and there may fine of 1,000 may be imposed on such persons. 4 states that nothing in subsection 1 shall apply to a registered medical practitioner as defined in the Medical Council, Ordinance 62, or a person authorized to prescribe antibiotic and dangerous drug act, drugs under the Allopathic System Prevention of Misuse Ordinance 1962, who dispenses medicine to his own patients or serve his own prescription. So this has been also now amended by certain proviso, which we can see later on that this now these medical practitioners are not allowed in their pharmacy wherever there is a clinic. So they must have a license. Pharmacists must employ a license. Pharmacists with register A. So they cannot prescribe. They cannot fill the prescription in their own clinics. Now that it has been amended, it has been changed with this that they must have a drug sale license with. So earlier it was exempted. Now 4b says a person who deals non-poisonous household remedies in original and unopened containers at any store or place or prepares non-poisonous household remedies in accordance with the rules made under Drug Act 1940. Now this has also been amended now in DRAP Act 2012. You can see that now they are not allowed at this presently under this section. So it has been amended under DRAP Act 19, DRAP Act 2012 that now they are not allowed such person. Further says, see, a person who manufactures, sells, or distributes drugs and medicines which fall exclusively under the Unani, Ayurvedic, biochemic, or homeopathic system of now the system of now this exemption has also been stopped. It has been amended under section under Drug Act 76, and also that it has been they also now cover under that one's drawback 2012. Now they must have nowadays these drug sale license required under these laws. Now a Unani, Ayurvedic, biochemic or homeopathic system, they are not nowadays exempted from these registration certificate. They may have appointed their own qualified persons. Now, D says a person engaged as a health or veterinary technician in a government hospitals or institution. Now, this exemption has also now discontinued. They are not nowadays, they can do their works. They must have take their proper license under DRAP Act 2012. Further says E. A foreign pharmacist who is engaged with the approval of the Central Council for the purpose of consultation, advice, or institution. It is also has been withdrawn. Now they must get the proper registration certificate. F says an apprentice in pharmacy during the period of 4 years from the commencement of the Pharmacy Amendment Act 73 or during such further period as the federal government maybe notification in the office gazette specified they are now this exemption also been withdrawn. Now cognizance of offences etc. The section 32 says no court shall take cognizance of an offence under this act except upon a complaint in writing made by an inspector appointed under the Drug 40 or an officer specified empowered in this behalf by the prevention. So, when this act was issued in 1973, amended at that time there was Drug Act 1942 was in there was Drug Act 1940 was under law. So after that, this Drug Act 1940 has been amended with, I think, Generic Act 1973. Later on, it was also amended or they have been repealed. They have repealed under Drug Act 1976 and then 1976. Then later on, it has been repealed under DRAP Act 2012. So except upon the complaints. So nowadays there is there's DRAP Act 2012, and under which there is a part of the Drug Act 1976 is a part of that DRAP Act 2012. So in that one, someone who the inspectors are the people who are working under this Act 2000 Act, they were exempted under the offences. Indemnity, Section 23, no suit, prosecution, or other legal proceeding shall lie against any person for anything which is in good faith done or intended to be done under this act. So if the officers of work under Drug Act 40, they were also exempted. They have indemnity that no such action can be taken against these officers if they have worked under good faith done or intended to be done under this act. So that indemnity for only for such officers or inspectors who have worked under that Pharmacy Act 1967. Now, 34 is the power to make bylaws. Now, under these Section 34, the various provincial pharmacy councils have made their bylaws under which they have to function. Now, it allows that 34.1 a council may, with the previous approval in the case of the Central Council of the central government and in case of the Provincial Council of the provincial government, make bylaws for carrying out the purpose of this act. So every council under this act in such period, they have to prepare the bylaws for their smooth functioning. So 34, after when we finish this Pharmacy Act 67, we'll go for the bylaws of Pharmacy Council of Sindh. Now 34.2 says, in particular and without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing power, such bylaws may provide for all or any of the following matters, namely, now the basis should be Section 34.2a says the procedure for the meeting of the council and its committees. 34.2b says the management of the property of the council. 34c says maintenance and audit of the accounts of the council. 34D, 2D says the procedure for election of the vice president where required in such pharmacy councils of provincial Pakistan Pharmacy Council and the respective provincial firms, how they have to elect the vice president for the smooth function of these pharmacy councils under the Pharmacy Act 1967. Further say, the powers and duties of the president, vice president, and the members of the council uh, 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 must be under the bylaws, must be framed under these bylaws. F. The terms and conditions of service of the secretary and other officers and staff of the council must be framed under these bylaws of that respective pharmacy council. Then G. Fees to be prescribed under this act for the registration of the pharmacist at register A, for registration under a register A, register B, or C, whatever. So uh, they have also fixed the prescribed fee under this act. Now, Act said such other matters as are required by this act to be provided for by law or considered necessary for the efficient performance of the function of the council. They can any other matters they can also provide under these bylaws. 3 says until such time as the bylaws are made, the President of the Council may issue such instruction as he may consider necessary to regulate all or any of the matters specified in subsection 2, and any such instruction shall stand signed upon the making of bylaws by the Council. So till then now we have Sindh Pharmacy Council bylaws 2013. So later on in the next class we have to learn about the bylaws of Sindh Pharmacy Council 2013, saying nothing in this act shall be deemed to affect the registration of any person who registered under the said act immediately before the commencement of the act. Effect the registration if already a person registered in this act, so the amendment they are allowed for such things. Thank you very much for this one. So I hope you have learned much about this Pharmacy Act 1967, because you must know during your curriculum that when you passed out that your Pharm D degree and you become registered a pharmacist under Pharmacy Act 67 in your respective pharmacy councils, maybe Sindh Pharmacy Council or Punjab Pharmacy Council or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Pharmacy Council or Balochistan Pharmacy Council. So you must know the this Pharmacy Act 1967. You must be aware of this act. So that's all up to the Pharmacy Act 1967. Then we'll go for the bylaws of Sindh Pharmacy. Thank you very much for learning be with us. Hopefully in next lecture we'll learn about the bylaws of Sindh Pharmacy Council. Thank you.